Hi, Dennis. I hope you and your family are well. Very nice. Spent nice time with you in Mexico a few years ago. Okay, we're going to get going. So if you're on here and you're waiting just for us to get started, I really encourage you to go on and get a pen and paper. We're going to get some work done today. We're really going to get into this. You can sit back and watch it if you want, but I promise you, if you get your pen and paper, you're going to get some really good ideas. That's going to make for a very good September for you all. Okay, so Bob is here, allowed to talk. Okay, Dr. Rukowski, you're welcome to the call. Take it away.
Am I unmuted at this moment?
You are unmuted. I can hear you loud and clear.
Beautiful. So happy, beautiful, amazing day all. I am profoundly excited. I've been a wonderful student of Bob Proctor's, as I think a number of you have been. You know, he's spent 6 decades studying universal laws, studying truth. In my philosophy, which I think sages will agree with, all truth comes from the same source. So he's definitely tapped into a source of abundance. He's applied it. He's leveraged it. He's partnered with phenomenal thinkers, coaches, actors, manifestors around the globe. And Declan, you are one of those guys. If I heard you right, you're in Bob Proctor's, I'll call it Sweet 16, top 16 coaches in the world. And one, that's epic. Congratulations. But two, on having done it in such a short period of time. So we know whatever you're doing is working. And I'm excited to hear not just this one word, this one lesson, but all the wisdom that you're sharing. So please take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Bob, for such an amazing introduction, as always. Magic word has just been exemplified by this great man. It's been a privilege to get to know you and your family over the last few years. And it was great to reconnect recently. And one of the great things I've learned from Bob is you don't give without getting back. And I think that has been totally a testament to you and Kelly and your family for what you do, showing up all over the world to support your team. And you do get back an abundance of what you give out, but that's it. We can't get away from the power of the laws. When you work with the laws as you do in all of your community that I witnessed firsthand, it's a testament to your success. So there's no blame game, and you got to own your success as well as your losses. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. I've encouraged your team to get pens and papers ready. This is going to be a real working webinar. My time is very, very, very valuable, and no matter what I'm doing, if I put some time away for work, I'm always hoping that if it's sitting on a plane next to somebody or wherever I am, I'm always trying to impart some wisdom that's going to help change the life of another human being. I think a lot of the team that are on here, I see very familiar names. I know that they are very like-minded. I know that Organo Opportunity is really like a personal development group with an amazing set of products involved. So let's get right into it. We're going to get some really good stuff going. So I would ask you to switch off your distractions and really knuckle down, get your pens and paper ready. So I shall move, hang on one thing, I want to remove this little bullet here and we're good to go. All right, so the one word that Bob Proctor taught me that has changed my life forever. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Declan Donoghue. I live in the southwest of Ireland, a beautiful little place called County Kerry. And when I first saw this gentleman, Bob Proctor, say, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, I said, what a load of old rubbish. I'll be very honest with you. But I was in a place that I really needed something. I was quite stuck. It was about 6.5 years ago. And for my first time since I was a 14-year-old boy, I was not earning any income. This was something I chose to do. I chose to raise my 2 kids. It was a decision I made to take some time off. And by doing this, I just, really hit a slump in my life because I had a wife and 2 kids, and I didn't know I was such a Neanderthal man. It's like, must bring home, man must bring home money, man must bring home food. But that was the case. I really hit me hard. And for some reason, I was drawn to the laptop one day. I went on YouTube and I typed in positive mental attitude. And you know yourself, when you're on YouTube, there is a whole host of ripped guys and girls on there trying to tell you how to live your life. And for some reason, I resonated with an 80-something-year-old Canadian gentleman with white hair. But that's another story. I really just started listening to him, and I often feel like he just spoke straight to my soul. I think when I say that in my seminars, people kind of go, wow, okay, tell me more. He started talking about that you can do anything, you can achieve anything, you can be anything, do anything, and have anything. And I know now why I was resisting that. I've come to learn the mechanism within each and every one of us that tried to force me to stop listening to what Bob was saying. But something else, something bigger than me, made me keep listening. Now I know, 3 or 4 years later, I know why that is, because I'm working closely with Bob, helping companies and individuals to get extraordinary results. So I know now why I persisted and persevered through. That story will come back around again in a while. But I just want to talk to you a little bit about how Bob is somebody we really need to listen to. And if there's anybody who's not muted right now, if you could just give yourself a quick mute, that would be fantastic. I work with a program called Thinking into Results. Now, this is Bob and his partner, Sandy Gallagher, who you're going to see here in the next slide here. It's their brainchild. Look at the lineage that we're talking about here. I know that one of the only, I think, if not the only company in network marketing that is aligned with the great book, Think and Grow Rich, one of the great books of the world. Think and Grow Rich was written by Napoleon Hill, the gentleman to the right of the gentleman with the beard. And of course, the guy with the beard is Andrew Carnegie. We've heard of Carnegie Hall all over Europe. There's Carnegie libraries. Carnegie was the richest man in the world. And he knew that he was a very ordinary gentleman from quite an ordinary background, living in an absolutely exceptionally extraordinary life because of the thought energy that he was aware of. And he knew that he was rubbing shoulders with some of the greatest people of the time. And he knew all of their backstories were generally like from pretty regular backgrounds. But he said there's this golden thread of information that's going all around these dinner parties and all around these rooms. And it doesn't seem to be in any one textbook or any one philosophy book. And he employed the services of the young man, who's not such a young man in this photograph, but Mr. Napoleon Hill. And everyone talks about Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich in the personal development world. This book actually was losing popularity, and much to the dismay of the wonderful gentleman next to him with the dark glasses, Mr. Earl Nightingale. And Earl Nightingale said, okay, we got to take this bigger. And of course, at the time, there was record players, long playing records. And he took Think and Grow Rich and narrated it onto long playing records. And it made him one of the most successful recording artists of the time, even though it was a spoken word record. Now, Bob Proctor was a gentleman who was actually an alcoholic fireman. Wasn't earning a lot of money. He owed 6,000 Canadian dollars and he was making 4,000. So he would have had to not spend a dime for 18 months just to break even. He owed money everywhere. He was really down and out. And a friend of his called Ray Stanford, gave him the book Think and Grow Rich, and it changed his life. Now, trust me, there is a reason for this. This is all going to come back to you and the next month ahead of you in your life in Organo and what you're doing with this amazing opportunity. But I just wanted to let you know that there is a reason that you got to listen to the information that I'm going to share and how it's going to make a big impact over the next 30 days. So Bob and Sandy put together a 12-lesson program that I use every day with my clients. I know some of my colleagues are either here. Oh, hang on a sec. Yeah, I'm going to just start my video so you can see me here. Hello. This is Declan again. Sandy Gallagher, of course, it always takes a lady to come in and make sense of everything, but Sandy Gallagher came in and said to Bob, what you're doing is great, but it's in all these variety of books and YouTube. We got to get it onto a proper system that we can follow. So they created the Thinking into Results program. I know my colleague and a great mentor of mine at one point, Eric Higgins, has studied Thinking into Results, as has Lloyd Chambers and a few other people, James Donoghue, a few other my Irish friends and friends around the world who became members of the Organo family as a result. But let me bring it up to speed. Studying this material with Bob was something that really helped me go from being somebody who admittedly bought a gold pack, not knowing it was a network marketing company, which was fine. It just that I said to Eric that day I purchased it, he's like, okay, Declan, wait till you get your pack and then we'll start talking about building a team. And I was like, building a team for what exactly? And he says, well, you know, you could build an organization, they'll sell coffee. And I was like, oh, you're not telling me it's one of those companies, is it? That's a true story. I thought I bought the best pack because it was more value to retail in my acupuncture clinic. But you know what? I just fell in love with the company anyway. It didn't really matter. But that just goes to show somebody who actually didn't know what he was getting involved in became a sapphire in the company in a very, very short space of time. And I was only barely a student of this material at the time. Now I'm quite an advanced student and a consultant working closely with Bob with, almost 100 clients around the world now. And it is amazing. So I'm going to give you a taste of it today. One of the lessons we do is lesson 9. It's a magic word lesson. And it's really, I promise you, if you do exactly what I tell you to do throughout this hour and throughout the next 30 days, I think Mr. and Mrs. Rukowski are going to be really, really excited by what can happen, because it's not by luck or by chance or only for the chosen few. These are laws, and they are always happening like gravity, okay? There's a law that I'm going to talk to you about towards the end of this presentation that if you follow it and believe it, it will give you a massive result. It's what I did. I barely knew the products. I barely knew anything, but I knew I had a goal and a mission and a dream, and that this business fitted right into that dream. And I know you're all doing it for a similar purpose. So if you just follow exactly what I tell you to do, you can start popping those ranks just as I did as well. Okay, let's go on. So I watched Bob in that very difficult time in my life, and there was one key part that I said to my wife in one of the scenes of one of his movies, which is called You Were Born Rich. It's on YouTube. It's in the free public domain. You can watch it. It's about 9 hours long. He puts a pin of recognition on a gentleman called Paul Hutsey. And I said to my wife that day, and I can really remember saying it with tears in my eyes, I really was in a low spot. I said, darling, if Bob Proctor is putting pins on people still, I don't know what it means, but he's going to put one on me one day. And that was last February 2nd, just gone. And I got my silver pin of recognition for having 50 clients in a short time. And Bob just puts the pin on you and that's it. But I asked for a microphone because I wanted the whole community of consultants. There was about 250 consultants from about 17 or 18 different countries or something there. And I took the microphone and I said to them, once upon a time, I told my wife that if Bob was still giving out pins, he would put one on me one day. And I didn't even know what they were for. And this is just another example that you can get what you think about. I am speaking to you from a house that I just finished constructing. And again, it's an example of, regardless of what the present circumstances are saying, any dream is possible if you follow this information. So what has changed? Well, Eric and a lovely gentleman, I hope you guys know him in the company. If you don't, you should get to know him, a guy called Steve Gulia. These guys, they heard from me quite a lot. They were my main uplines and real confidants of mine in the time. Had a great time with them in Mexico on that trip. But I told them, like, my one burning desire was to put a roof over my wife and my children's head. We were living in rented accommodation, and Organo contributed to that in my time working with the company. You may ask, well, why are you not doing Organo anymore? Well, to tell the truth, Bob really promotes multiple sources of income. And in the year that I worked in Thinking into Results, I created 6 sources of income. All of them were put to the side when I became a consultant because I wanted to give everything to this. But I highly regard the products and I highly regard the ethos behind the company. But in my time working with Organo, this was part of my dream. And the lads knew that, to build my dream home. Now I'm in here, literally just installed our big flat screen television. And I promise you, 35 months ago, before I got this information into my hands, I barely had 2,000 euros together to become a client of this material. I was petrified to spend any money on anything apart from personal debt. I felt like a really crappy father, a really crappy husband. And now I really wake up every morning, opening my eyes, thanking God that I really decided to back myself and invest in my mindset. A lot of what you do in Organo is your mind. Your body is an instrument of your mind. And I'm going to show you how to overcome that fear, ask the person for the sale, give a sample, even to the most intimidating of sources, because you just don't know who it's going to help. I promise you, you just don't know. It's really is an extraordinary thing. And I'm sure the time I met Eric and I got coffee from him, you know, we sat there smiling at each other in the beaches in Mexico, kind of going, look what happens with one sachet. So I really believe that you follow what I tell you to do today, and by the end of September, you can really make a big impact. And if today is the last day of a particular month, you may just take this information and change what you're going to do today and really get some good results. And I hope that's the case. So let's move on. This has helped me to not just achieve things in my life, it's really helped me to live a very, very balanced and happy life. A moment ago, my daughter, who I've really, really said, sweetheart, Daddy's working, don't interrupt, just came in with a little bag of biscuits, and she was like, Daddy, can you do it? It's a family business, as is Organo. So my door is ajar. I may get interrupted again, but I keep it really, really real here, okay? So listen, how did all this happen? How did I go from being someone who felt like a failure as a father and as a husband to being someone who just feels supremely confident? I mentioned Necker Island. I know that Dr. Bob and Kelly are going there soon. If Richard Branson asked me for help, I would feel totally confident in advising him because of this material. It is extraordinary when you develop a purpose and go after it. It's not about the things you get, it's about the person you become. And let me read a very, very key chapter. This is important you listen to this. If you're watching the webinar back, I'd like you to take notice of this, the minute that we're recording now, because you're going to be getting very involved with this following passage over the next 30 days. All right. A person should conceive, by the way, pardon me. Today, I just want to say one more thing. Today is all about you. I've told you about Bob Proctor and his life. I've told you about me and my life. But I want you, all 19 people that are watching this live, and the rest of you that have registered, there's over 50 people registered. I presume you'll watch the replay. I want all of you to take the rest of what I'm about to say very, very personally. I want you to understand that, not like I did with Bob and Earl Nightingale and Napoleon Hill. When I first started listening to this, I thought it was for those other people or for those leaders. I'm not going to be one of them. You are the same as every one of the leaders in Organo. You're the same as everybody in any leader of any field of industry you're involved in. You're just less aware of how to be where they are, and you're progressively realizing that goal every single day, whether it appears that you're failing or it appears that you're winning. It's all part of the journey. Okay, but today is about you, so I really, really want you to take it personally, take notes, and we're going to have some questions and answers at the end if people want. So how did I get there? Putting a roof over my wife's and my children's head was my purpose. Last October, I realized that the purpose had been achieved. It was down to the builder, the bank, and that was it, the engineers. It had nothing to do with me. My physical, my ability to crystallize thoughts into physical shapes was done at this point. The house was under construction, and I actually hit a bit of a slump for about 2 or 3 days, and then I found my new purpose. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about an amazing paragraph from this book, As a Man Thinketh. I'm going to give you this book as a gift for registering for this webinar. Because you've registered, I've got your email address, so I'm going to email you. My assistant Laura is going to email you a copy of this book, and I'm going to get you to really look at this particular page. It's from the chapter called The Effects of Your Thoughts with Your Purpose. And I'm going to read an excerpt that I read from last October right through to the 18th of January, when I hit a milestone goal. It was almost tripling the previous year's income between October and January by reading this one paragraph. A person should conceive of a legitimate purpose in their heart and set out to accomplish it. They should make this purpose the centralizing point of thoughts. It may take the form of a spiritual idea, or it may be a worldly object, according to the nature of the person at that time being. But whatever it is, they should steadily focus their thought forces upon the object which they have set before them. They should make this purpose their supreme duty. They should devote themselves to its attainment, never allowing their thoughts to wander away into other fancyings and longings and imaginings. This, my friends, is the royal road to self-control and to true concentration of thoughts. Even if a person fails again and again to accomplish their purpose, which they evidently must do until strength of character is gained, it is that strength of character which will be the measure of your true success. And this strength of character will form a new starting point for your future powers and your future triumphs. Okay, there is so much more before that is solid gold, and there is so much more after that is solid gold. But I want you to understand what James Allen is suggesting here, and this is a book that came out before Think and Grow Rich. He is suggesting that we get a purpose in our life, that we really, really focus on the purpose. And as we're going towards that, yes, we're going to pick up some things along the way, but it's really the measure of the character of the person you become on that journey, that's the key success. I guarantee you that is my experience, and the experience of the consultants I work with and the clients that we talk about. Oh, hang on. Right. So let's give you an example of some of the people. I used to love getting on Dr. Bob's webinars and inviting my colleagues, inviting some people who I wanted to make interested in the opportunity, because Dr. Bob always had such great testimonials, and stories do sell. So I want to use my story and Bob's story, but real people's stories, to sell you into the idea of the following presentation and what it's going to do over the next 40 minutes or so for your results. This lady is called Janine. Now, this is a picture at my kitchen table last Saturday. She came over. She's a client of mine from the Netherlands. And she just so happened to be here in my neighborhood because where I live in Ireland, there is a festival called the Charlie Chaplin Comedy Festival. Now, this woman a year ago came to my acupuncture practice before I closed it down to be full-time working with my mentor, Bob. And when she came in, it became evident that she really needed more help than what my needles would provide or my therapy would provide. I knew that her paradigm was forcing her to do things that she didn't want to do, to live a lifestyle that wasn't really going to get her to a good end point. So I spoke with her and I said, look, your thoughts you're not in control of your thinking. And it's evident. And because of patient confidentiality, I can't go into that, but there was evidence to show that her thoughts were not in line with the dreams that she had. We got working together and we used the lessons I'm going to talk to you about in a moment. Now, what has happened in her life? Well, she's in what we call an acceleration and creation phase. You can reverse them. You can say creation acceleration or acceleration creation. But she is like a vessel for beautiful thoughts coming to her and through her all the time. But a year ago, those thoughts were coming to her, but she would reject them. That can't be me. I'm not that kind of person. But that was only her conditioned mind from getting rid of all that virus code, getting rid of all those cookies of who she thought she was, and recreating that person using pen and paper and proper material and a pretty good coach. This is what she's doing right now. When I met her, she really believed what somebody had told her, that she was not a really good person, that she was ugly or whatever. There was a lot of stuff going on there. But now she took up her love of art. She started painting and she started putting her pictures online. And she put up pictures of Charlie Chaplin. The Charlie Chaplin organization saw them and asked her to send some pictures. And then they said, can we use your pictures on our artwork? Because she's got a kind of a Picasso version of Chaplin. Because of her confidence boost, she went back to her career, which is working as a nurse with people with dementia and Alzheimer's. And she's purchased easels and she's purchased canvases and paints. And she's getting these people to paint. And she's taking the paintings to very boring surfaces like in libraries or in, real estate offices. And she's marching in there with her newfound confidence. And she's saying, people with dementia have painted these. You need to support my business, which is giving back to these people. I want you to put these paintings up in your homes. I want you to sell your homes. And these paintings will help sell it because they're going to make it beautiful. And wouldn't you say your clients are going to want to be associated with somebody who supports a charity like mine? And they're going, yeah, of course. They're taking her paintings, they're selling the homes, they're giving her back the money, and she's putting the money back into buying more canvases and more easels. Guess what? She realized this is helping a lot of people. So now she's tapping into the global artists market, and she's appealing to artists. You can give back to the world. You can help people to paint, people who need it. Think of what that's doing to the families of the people. And think about what it's doing. Think about what the change in the last 12 months has meant for this lady's self-esteem, for her parents, for her son, for everyone who supports her, for all of my other clients who's watched her growth within 12 short months. This happens, my friends, when you take control of your thoughts and you develop a purpose. And her singular purpose was to stop hating herself and stop hating her life. When she get past that, now she's a new purpose, which is to see the joy on the faces of families who sees a change in their loved one because they're doing art therapy now. I mean, you don't know where your purpose can take you. You don't know where the confidence that it takes to give a sachet or some sort of a product to somebody will take you, okay? But this is Janine's story. And the other story I want to share with you is the woman on the left with the red dress. Her name is Eileen. Also met me about a year ago. Eileen said, Declan, I'd love 4 things in my goals. I would love to meet a new gentleman in my life. I would love to buy a new home. I would love to leave the business that I have because she owns a health spa that has about 12 people working for her. I'm the busiest person in the place, she said. I want to leave that business and I want to be working at home with my little girl. That happened. And the 4th thing was, she said, I want to have a company that operates all over the world, like Bob Proctor says. Now, guess what she did? She took the company that she created, which was a global consulting company for health spas, and she made her clinic the first one. So she took 2 goals out with one idea. She made herself a consultant in the global spa business, took herself out of her own place, so therefore she achieved 2 goals. She now has a beautiful man and a beautiful home. And then again, in a few short months. Why she's on the stage here? During the time working together in her acceleration and creation phase, she decided to boost her confidence by joining Toastmasters. And she placed in the top 3 of Toastmasters in Great Britain and Ireland in February this year. Again, didn't really have an idea what she wanted to do, but she developed her purpose. And her purpose was all of what I've just mentioned. So again, I ask you, what is your purpose? I want you to really start thinking about it, because you made your current paradigm or your current beliefs about who you are right now will probably stop you from rejecting, like, I couldn't be a blue diamond like Dr. Bob. I mean, I couldn't have thousands and thousands in my downline. Of course I couldn't. That's not true. That is not true. They would have told you that as well a few years ago, but you can. But it's all about your mind. It is all about your marvelous, marvelous mind. Your mind, your body is an instrument of your mind. The house I live in is the result of my thinking in my mind. The money that I got for this house didn't come from the bank, it came through the bank. The clients that you have, if you're somebody like Teresa and Alan, who I recognize their names on here, or I know Nancy is on here as well, and her husband. Some of these really successful people that we look up to in Organo, they have a marvelous mind the same as you. If you're just beginning on this right now, everyone, Dr. Bob, everyone, we all have the same 24 hours a day. We just have realigned our mind and realigned our purpose a little bit different. Your mind is a marvelous tool, and your clients are not coming from where you think they're coming, the customers are coming from source, as Bob said, where everything comes from. The money they have, the money you need every year or every month or every week, it doesn't come from where you think it comes from. It comes through those sources. So you just got to develop a purpose, and you got to develop a really different type of consciousness, which we're going to get stuck into right now. Okay, so let's look at the mind. Now, if I asked all of you to go out and paint your front door, if I even said close your eyes and picture your car, picture the last time you went for dinner, you could do that because we think in pictures. But you may not have seen the mind, so how can you change your mindset if you haven't seen your mind? So we're going to look at your mind, and therefore, we're going to look at your paradigm. Because the paradigm is a set of beliefs, a set of thoughts that you have in your subconscious mind. If you're somebody who can drive your car from one side of the city to the other nowadays without even thinking about it, conducting calls, perhaps even closing a prospect while you're driving, and you might have your little girl in the back seat and she's dropped her toy and you're passing it back to her, like you're doing all of this now while driving. But if you remember a few years ago when you were trying to drive a car, it was the most awkward thing in the world to do. It wasn't part of your paradigm, and now it is. Now you're an Organo representative, whatever rank you're at, is just your current paradigm. It doesn't have to be the way. So let's look at your mind and look at your paradigm. So in 1934, Dr. Thurman Fleet, he was involved in the healing arts like myself and Dr. Bob and a few other people on here. And he said, your mind is an activity. It is not a thing. No one has ever seen the mind. And in order to gain clarity of the mind and eliminate confusion, I will create an image that we will work with. And here he is. This is going to help you to discover the one word that Dr. Bob, I used to always confuse that when I started with Bob Proctor. I say Dr. Bob, I mean Bob. But anyway, Bob Proctor taught me one word that I'm going to teach you over the next 30 days. It's going to absolutely change your results like night and day. But you're going to need to know about this diagram for that to happen. Okay, I want you to think about your mind being like the top circle. Your head is not your mind. Your mind is in every cell of your body. But for this presentation, just suppose that the top circle is the head, the bottom circle is the body, and the head is the mind. Let's divide it in two, okay? The top half is the conscious mind. This is what we see, hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. Okay, let's look at it this way. It's 31st of August. I know that today is like the last day of a month, and in network marketing business, that can be red zone, okay? Consciously, okay, I've only got these many packs sold. If I want that rank, I want this many. And the paradigm can say, yeah, but if you look at that, you know, we've only got a few hours today, and we really haven't got a lot of hot prospects. It can say that if you use your perception that way. Or it could say, I have been gifted with so many hours. I can get 5 calls done in 1 hour. I've been gifted with a chance to do 50 calls. Oh my God, this is amazing. That's a perception. So your conscious mind is a faithful servant. It will always tell you the facts. But your subconscious mind is a sacred gift. Now, I didn't make up that. I wish I did. But that came from a gentleman called Albert Einstein. He said the conscious mind is a faithful servant. If you have all of your senses, it'll never let you down. Like if we heard a tweet of a bird, or if we heard the ding of an iPhone, we could all agree it's the ding of an iPhone, because our conscious mind never lets us down. We can hear, see, smell, taste, and touch, okay? It varies in level bits, but generally all of our senses are the same. And you can look at things and say, that's the facts, but that's not the facts at all. You can change anything. The subconscious mind has no ability to accept or reject any idea. It just accepts whatever is given to it, right? Now, here's the thing. Human beings, unlike any other animal, so far as we know, we have the ability to accept or reject thoughts. So thoughts come into our mind via the conscious mind. They come in, we'll see something or we'll hear something, and it develops a thought. A thought is a living, breathing entity, okay? It comes into our conscious mind. Now, we have the power of choice. You might have heard people talk about the age of reason is around 7. I can convince my younger children that Santa Claus comes through the letterbox and not the chimney, but I cannot convince my daughter of that, who's 9. Her age of reason is done. She's got the ability to reason, and you can't pull the wool over her eyes easily anymore. However, adults are pulling the wool over their own eyes all of the time, because we're looking at conscious results And this is how I went from where I was to where I got Sapphire in such a short time, even though I didn't know I was involved in a network marketing business. How did I do it? I regularly looked at the deadline and I said, well, if Bob and Napoleon Hill are right, then I can perceive that to be the deadline, or I can perceive it to be an opportunity to raise my vibration and close the sales, as I evidently did. And I still do to this day. So I use the subconscious mind. I cut off my senses. I close my eyes. I go into a room and I just listen. I ask and I listen. I use my imagination and my intuition. My imagination sends out like a vibrating station. You know, I am so happy and grateful for the 10 people that joined me on the last day of the qualification period for the Organo trip to Mexico. I am just so happy that they're all waiting for me to call them up. They're so receptive and they really want the opportunity. Then all of a sudden, next thing, Padraig, Seamus, Timothy, Philip, all these names that start popping up. And I'm like, oh, I got this idea. You're going to learn in a while why that is. It's called the acceleration and creation phase. But it's all coming from the subconscious mind, my friends. That's how you can drive a car without thinking about it, because you've programmed yourself that way. So not just affirmations, there's a certain other level, a deeper level than affirmations. Affirmations help, but if your paradigm is going, no, I'm not a diamond, no, I'm not, then you're probably going to find it hard. There is a way about doing it, and Think and Grow Rich has the secret for that. Okay, the conscious mind sees the idea, you take it into the subconscious. Now, when it goes into the subconscious, the body reacts in two ways. Number one, the body gets you to go out there and take certain actions that you never took before, or the body gets you to, by vibrating, it starts to pull people towards you. And we've all experienced this. I know you have, where it's like you're just going off and you're thinking about something, and all of a sudden somebody says to you, oh, I saw your thing on Facebook about Organo. What is that? And you start attracting them now in the most amazing circumstances, right? That's a function of the body. You go out and take positive actions, or you attract positive people to you. It happens both ways. So the body is an instrument of the mind. If you're taking, imagine beautiful, pure, crystal fresh water going into a bottle and going back out from the bottle, right? Imagine you're like that bottle, but if you've got negative thoughts and worries and doubts and fears about the end of the month or about the start of next month, this is what's happening. Beautiful, clean, pure thought energy that will give you anything you want is coming in. And the doubt, fear, and worry, it's like putting peanut butter in that bottle. It's like putting ketchup in that bottle and putting in the fresh water and shaking it around and expecting beautiful fresh water to come back out again. It's just not going to happen, my friends. So I'm going to show you a technique at the end that's going to make you be like that beautiful, clear vessel, accepting that you can do anything you want in September in this company, emulating that out through your vibrational energy and bringing back, just like someone throwing out nets and not getting a mixed match of fish, getting exactly what they want, okay? That is the promise that I will give you. It's a bold promise, but I know it. I live it every second day, every single day, every second day. All right, this is the most valuable lesson that I've ever learned, said Bob. All right, let's get into this. Okay, we're going to just talk about this, right? I saw people who were like ignorant in what I was doing and thinking into results and what I was doing. And what they started to do was stop thinking for themselves, and they kind of started copying, you know, so, okay, Dr. Bob says we should do this, so they started doing that, and then they develop their own idea, and then they develop another idea. Like, when you're ignorant in the laws, you just kind of will start doing it. Oh, I'll put a Facebook ad out there, I'll do presentations, I'll do everything. When you start using thought energy, the ideas that are most perfect for you will be given to you. If the home-based presentation is your thing, it'll be given to you, it'll feel good, it'll feel natural, and you'll do it. I personally didn't do that. I just attracted them using this information, but that worked for me. It may not work for you, but this is what will work for you. Finding your thing will happen through this method, right? So if you're ignorant in the laws of the universe where thoughts become things, this is what can happen. And this is what we're going to kill. This is not going to happen anymore if you do exactly what I tell you to do in September. Worry and doubt can come into the conscious mind through looking at the bank balance, through looking at the deadline, the qualification periods, whatever that may be. You can cause that to be a doubt, fear, and worry, or it can pop in as a doubt, fear, and worry. But that does not become part of your true story unless you accept it down into the subconscious mind. Now, that's when you start going over it and over it and over it. And how are you going to know you've gone too far? You'll feel sick in your tummy. You'll feel sweaty palms. You'll feel dry mouth. You'll feel worried. You'll start to get panicky about your sales and trying to close people aggressively. Now you're gone too far. So I'm going to teach you how not to go that way today, okay? The worry and doubt pops in. The human being accepts it into the subconscious and they immediately feel fear. We don't want to go there, because if fear is in the subconscious, it starts to form levels of anxiety in the body. The body has to do exactly what the subconscious mind is feeling. Okay? Now, nobody walks around in public going, I'm anxious, I'm so happy, I'm anxious. They generally suppress it down. They'll take it in. And Dr. Bob might call them up and say, how are you doing? Happy, beautiful day. And they say, hey, Dr. Bob, I'm doing great. Yeah, feeling good. But inside they're like, don't ask me, please don't ask me. I'm feeling like crap. Or Eric could ring up and say, how are you doing? And it's like, yeah, great, great, great. We generally suppress the fear, but you're fooling nobody because the universe is listening and it's going, oh, hang on, excuse me. You want a lack of clients? I'll give you that. So you can't outperform your paradigm. So you got to really control the ignorant side of this material. Like you've got Think and Grow Rich as the book that's promoted in Organo. You've got upline team leaders who are exuding confidence and want to help you. So when the doubt, fear, and worry gets in there, get onto them straight away and get that out of here, because that is setting yourself up for difficulties down the line. Okay. Now, when we suppress that anxiety, we actually can get depressed in ourselves. Now, this starts to cause a level of dis-ease in the human body. And I'm telling you to break that word up, because you're not in a state of ease when you're like that. You know, and I've been there. I've gone to, I mean, just like you, I've gone to presentations in hotel rooms, you know, presenting for Organo or presenting with Bob Proctor's material. And I might not feel too hot about myself that night. Now, I can be, you know, a nice suit and using my slides and doing Q's and A's and showing people all of my knowledge. But if in my body I'm feeling, you know, I'm scared this is going to be a failure, it's not going to be a success, I'm probably going to get that. You know, I probably do, and I have got that, right? So there's a dis-ease. You're vibrating out a sense of dis-ease. Look at it this way. You've stood with a salesperson, be it a car or a cell phone or whatever. You've stood with somebody and you wanted it. You've known you wanted the car or whatever, but you've walked away. The reason you've walked away is that person might have been so nice and presentable, but they were sending off a signal of, I need you to buy this for me. And your subconscious mind picked up on it and kind of thought, I don't know about that. And you sometimes don't know why you walk away from things. And you sometimes are puzzled. Why? I can't understand why this prospect hasn't bought. The reason they haven't bought is, and if you're honest with yourself, because I don't need you to tell me, you can just be honest with yourself, you probably wanted it more than they wanted it for them. You wanted it more for you than you wanted it for them. Because that sets up, we communicate three ways: intellectually, physically, and spiritually. So you're communicating the presentation exceptionally well. You've learned it off from all the slides and the presentations, and you've copied Dr. Bob's wonderful way of teaching. That's your intellect. Then there's the physical. It's your body language. It's how you're speaking. Eric has a great speaking tense. You know, you can really see him doing a great job when he presents, as many, many others. You know, I've seen, it's the lady in America. It'll come back to me. I won't waste your time trying to remember their names, but there's some amazing presenters in Organo. So they've got the intellect. They've got the physical representation of the material, but the spiritual is a different representation. And if they're anxious and hoping that the people will purchase and buy for them, for the speaker, for the presenter, for their own interests, there's a breakdown there. And people don't know why, but they just step back. You've got to sell yourself on the idea that you are giving one of the treasures of the earth. You are giving people a business opportunity. You are giving them an opportunity to be in one of the most beautiful companies I've ever been involved in, like the camaraderie, the support, the help, the joy, the fun, everything. It's great. You know, Mexico was one of the best times of my life. You've got to sell yourself on that idea, and you're never going to be in a state of dis-ease again. So when doubt, fear, and worry is coming in, you have to learn how to stop that. You can write down what you're feeling and tear it up and throw it away or burn it. And now it's gone from being a thought in your mind or in your heart to a piece of paper that's on fire somewhere. It really is that easy. But if you're in an anxious state about closing sales, whatever, you got to talk to somebody about how to get over that. Now, let me show you the other side of the coin here. We're going to talk about the different side. So thought power is, remember I said about the water coming in, it's always coming into your mind. Ideas, new ideas, customers that have said no a year ago, they're coming back to you. Thought power, you're always thinking. But then you got your paradigm, which is like, okay, I'm ready to be programmed. Give me what you want. And too often we give them the stuff that's on the other side. Hopes, fears, doubt, worries, aspirations. But we're not being steadfast and really giving it what we want. But that's what we're going to do together in September. I cleared it with Dr. Bob and Kelly earlier on. I've got something great coming up for all of you. So stay tuned, folks. Anyway, let's go. I'm going to teach you knowledge. Right? If you get anything, get understanding, was what Solomon said. And Solomon was almost as clever as Lloyd Chambers. Solomon was one of the great thinkers of our time. I know you're going to love that one, Lloyd. But knowledge, right? You've got to develop an understanding. you don't understand material until you can say it to somebody else so that they understand it. Do you think Dr. Bob knows about this material? Do you think he knows about what the components of Ganoderma is doing for the body? Yes, he flipping does. And do you think you know more about it because of him? Yes, you do. Now, when you understand what your mind is, so much so that you can teach your downline, or you can even help your customers, if you can find out why you're feeling the fear and doing it anyway, when they're afraid to buy something that they've told you they want, you can quell their fear and you can close a lot more deals as well. But I'm going to show you how to do that. You've got to develop an understanding of who and what you are, right? So how do we do it? We study ourselves. We read that book, Think and Grow Rich, especially chapter 4, auto-suggestion, especially the chapter on the sixth sense, especially the chapter on, hello, sweetheart. So daddy's still working. Now, when you do that, you develop a faith. Do you want to join me? Well, this is a family company and they're not going to mind whatsoever. Now, you start to develop faith. Now, I have a faith. Nobody is going to deny me an idea. Okay, Johnny, that's it. Sit down. Okay, I have complete faith in the material and complete faith in myself and in my ability to do my job. Why? Because every morning I wake up in my C-type goal. I wake up in my dream. You guys have done this before. Some of you have sold gold packs. If you've done it once, you can do it 100 times like Dr. Bob and Kelly do, right? You have to develop a faith, and the faith is based on an understanding that you can, right? So how do we do that? We just get out and do it. And at the end of the presentation, I'm going to show you the magic word that helps you to get out and do that. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. I think you'd all agree. The more you close a sale, the easier it becomes, because you develop an understanding. You have faith in yourself. There is, like, when you go to the gym first, you don't go from being somebody who's post Thanksgiving dinner to being someone who's, ripped and ready for the beach. You've got to build that up through repetition. You got to build it up through practice. So I have a faith based on understanding that I can achieve anything I want, regardless of the industry, that I can coach Richard Branson regardless of his success, because I have an understanding that everyone that I've spoken to, I impart some little bit of knowledge to them based on what they tell me. Because Bob has taught me how to really listen. I'm being mimicked here. How to really listen. Listen as one who understands. Not listening to people so that you can start talking when they finish talking. That's not really listening. Really listening is listening so that you can hear what they're missing and give it to them. Sweetheart, please don't do that. Thank you, darling. Okay, now when you live like that in faith, you live in a state of well-being. Remember, that's the opposite of dis-ease. I don't live in a state of dis-ease anymore. Complete and total well-being. Even if I was in Organo right now and I'm 5 or 6 gold packs away from a qualification, staying in the state of well-being means every time I pick up the phone, that person's not picking up on my energy that I'm a bit off. Well, what's he out for here? They feel my words, my intellect, and my physical words are totally in harmony with my spiritual resonance, okay? So the knowledge develops an understanding. The more you study, the more you understand, the more you live in faith of your abilities. And that always keeps you in a state of well-being. Why does Dr. Bob always say, happy, happy, beautiful day? Because he is living in a state of well-being. And he's not an unconscious competent. He knows why he's living like that. He knows he's put the work in. He knows he's studied his mind. He knows he's studied himself. And I know, Dr. Bob, you've had to leave some thoughts, feelings, and actions and habits behind you to become this gentleman. Same with Eric, same with everybody else that I know in the company. All the successful people will tell you they weren't always like that. They had to do some work. Now, what do all of these leaders want to do? Help. They all want to help. The minute I got to Sapphire, I wanted to help everyone to get Sapphire. The minute I got to Platinum or Platinum Elite, that's what I wanted to do, was help my team. You start to express it. You don't suppress it and keep it inside. You start to share your ideas and tell people how you've done. You want to be on those stages. You want to be recognized on the stage. You want to be walking across and getting your trophies, right? We express out the good. It starts with study. It starts with understanding who you are. It starts with developing faith in yourself, the well-being, and you express that. What happens when you express that? You go into the acceleration and creation phase. So when I got my first one was Platinum, I think, I'm not really sure again the level, but the first thing was I became a consultant, became a salesperson with this company, and then I got with a very short time, I sold a few packs and I got an award. And then I was like, Eric, so what's the next one, please? And he was like, that's this one, and then that's that one. So I was like, yeah, I can do that. Now, I went into an acceleration and creation phase. I kept coming up with ideas, strategies, and 30-day plans and 90-day plans. And, I remember masterminding with the guys, and it's because I was studying this material so much. Any of you, I can't see my screen. Some of you you might have an auto parts shop. You might be a janitor. You might be a doctor. You might be a dentist or a chemist like Dennis. I don't care what your industry is. If you come to me with an idea that you want to develop in your business, I'm in such an acceleration and creation phase that I can just hear the thoughts that you're missing and send them right back to you. That's called masterminding. And it's in the 6th Sense chapter of Think and Grow Rich. When you tap into that energy, as Bob says, as Dr. Bob says, you can write your ticket. I mean that. And you can write your ticket in this company that you're in right now. It's got everything you need. I've even seen this travel company starting up and all, makeup and everything, cosmetics. My God, you guys are onto such a winner. All right. So let's look at it this way. Why does Dr. Bob and Kelly live and talk as though they're in a state of ease? They're at ease all of the time. I hope you would agree. I think you are. Because they're living on the side of knowledge and study. Dr. Bob was doing a workout earlier on, and then when I called, he was doing laps of the pool. He's not telling people to live healthy and then just eating loads of junk himself. This guy is a living, breathing example of his material. And you guys need to be a living, breathing example of this material. You know, if you really are telling people that they can earn a lot of money being in Organo, you should be out there doing that. Like, how can you expect people? You can't be telling them you're going to earn a lot of money and then you're not earning money yourself. You shouldn't be waiting for that one client to come along and change your whole life. They will come along, but you've got to be the best example you can be. And that's why I did so well so quickly, because people saw what I was doing. They saw the recognition, they saw that I knew what I was talking about, and they followed me, and I served them, and they did well, okay? So that's the state, that's what you want to do, guys, and it all starts with knowledge and the creation phase. Acceleration, creation, it never stops. When you start lifting weights and you go to a certain level, you can go to the next level and the next level and the next level. But you couldn't go from where you started to there. You've got to build it up. Daily study, and we're going to talk about that. So you have a choice. You have a choice to keep, as it says in this book as well, I'm going to give you this book today, As a Man Thinketh. At the end of the book is a chapter called Serenity. And in Serenity, he says, the calm person, having learned how to govern themselves, understands themselves as a thought-evolved being. They understand who they are as a result of thinking. And that allows them to understand others as the result of thoughts. So when you're thinking, when you're talking to people and they're saying, I really want this, but I can't afford it, then you know that they're confused. Yes, darling. You want to sit in my lap again? Okay. You know that they're confused. They can't be telling you they want something but not going ahead with it. They clearly haven't read Think and Grow Rich, the decision chapter. You need to educate them on that. Then they'll know they can understand you. He goes on to say in that chapter on serenity, he goes on to say, a person who is unaware of how to control their thoughts, they fuss and fume and worry and grieve. Meanwhile, the people who do learn how to control their thoughts, they remain poised and steadfast and serene. And that's what I want to teach you over the next 30 days, is to remain poised and steadfast and serene. Not ignorant of who you are, knowing that you're not somebody who ever again needs to doubt, worry, and fear. I'm driving to meet someone. Oh, I hope they don't say no. They're going to say no. You got to drive to that meeting saying, I listened to this crazy Irish guy on Saturday, and he told me that if I'm constantly repeating, I am so happy and grateful now that this wonderful prospect that I'm about to share a precious moment of their life with is so excited by my presentation. My words are commanding, my body is relaxed, and I'm imparting all of the power of Ganoderma to them. They can't but sign up. They want, even if they want to only taste the products, they'll buy a gold pack. They love me, they love my presentation, and they love being part of my team. Even if it feels like lies to you, you have a greater chance of them saying yes, instead of going there biting your nails and hoping for the best and then putting on a fake smile when you walk in. So you can't live in the ignorance phase any longer. You're going to be going onto the knowledge phase through study, and we're going to really do some good work this month, okay? Now, next up, what is the one word? Imagine if I told you a beautiful word that if you use it in every single situation, you would never again fight with your spouse. You would never again be feeling like you were desperate for a sale. You would never again look at your bank balance and be worried or upset about it. One single word in the English language that can change everything. My daughter has a silver sparkly purse and a pink phone, in case you haven't noticed. Yeah. And you dropped it too. Oh, dearie me. Alrighty. So what is the one word? The one word, my friends, is attitude. Okay? You might hear people saying, and you'll see the branding there, C&D Consulting. That's my corporate consulting group I have with another of Bob's consultants. Okay? So, God bless you. Attitude, my friends, is this. Again, remember our stick person friend. There's a line between the conscious and the subconscious. These are our antennae. And these antennae, what they do is they're your hearing, see, smell, taste, and touch. They're your senses, and they're taking in information that's trying to control how you feel through the senses. Sweetheart, I'm working now. I can't be with you. What do you need to tell me? Okay, that's fine. Stay with me for another 5 minutes and we're done. Now, guys, there's the conscious mind. So your attitude could say, oh, you know, I'm not as good as the other people and I don't have prospects, or I live nowhere, they live in cities. I live in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if you can see it with my camera. I might spin it around, but there's 300 people in my village. I'm an hour and a half from the nearest supermarket and swimming pool and cinema. There is nobody here, and I went from 0 to Sapphire in weeks. I can't even remember what it was, but it was only like 6 or something weeks. It was the second month anyway. I consciously did not listen to any of that rubbish. I kept myself completely closed off from any kind of doubts, fears, and worries. I looked at the results and I thought, I'm going to be on that trip to Mexico. I talked to my team leaders, Eric and Steve. I talked to Mrs. Rakowski and Dr. Bob. I told them what I wanted to do and they gave me advice and I listened. I put what they told me into my subconscious mind, knowing because of this study that that has to go into the body. It has to force me to go out and take positive actions, and it has to allow me to vibrate out only the good that I want and attract towards me the good that I want. You're so cool, Joni. Right. And then the body does that. Your body is an instrument of your mind. Your body is an instrument of your subconscious mind. So look at it this way. The thought comes into the conscious. It does not go into the feeling mind until you say so. You've got to build up the power to reject the stuff that's not serving you and to accept the stuff that is. We got to accept the results we want, the thoughts we want, and reject the ones we don't. I guarantee you it's going to hamper your progress. And that's I guarantee you at the end of this webinar, we have a Q&A and some people are going to say, Declan, I can understand what you're saying. I know now because I felt that anxiety stir up inside me and I've been putting on a beautiful brave face selling a pack. But meanwhile, they've walked away. You're going to understand why. So anyway, the thoughts, the feelings, and then the actions. Now what the actions do, as I told you, is they make you take actions in your body, but they send out the vibrations. And that's the results you're going to get. So, my friends, there's no blame game anymore here. Anything that I look at in my life that I'm not happy with, I've sat down with some of my closest friends and they say, Dick, tell me about what you're doing. And I'll tell them. And they'll say, well, you're really good at selling the positives. And tell me the negatives. And I'll say, okay, the work that I do with Bob Proctor, how I change people, how I help people to change their lives around the world, there's only one negative. I can't wake up any other morning and go, oh, isn't that a beep? I can't swear in front of my little girl, but isn't that a pain in the neck that this is happening? Isn't it awful that this is the result of somebody else's doing? There's no more blame game anymore, guys. Everything, all the wins that I've had in my life have been my responsibility, and me and my wife and the work we've done together and the help of great mentors. But the results I was getting were mine. Nobody else's results. They were the results of my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions. 100% results. So attitude is everything. It's a magic word. And here's the beauty of it all. At the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and especially in my branch of the Proctor Gallagher Institute, I have two companies. My own private consultancy company is called Life Without Limits, because my brother James, God rest him, he's passed away now, but he was born with a limitation in where he had a learning disability. He needed help every time he went to the toilet for 33 years before he parted this world. He needed help to get dressed. He needed help with everything. His life was limited. Mine is not. But I was limiting myself through a really poor attitude, guys, and that's the long and the short of it. This material has liberated me to live an absolutely wonderful life, but also allowing me to do the same for the people I've spoken to you about, like Janine, like Eileen, all of these people, and hopefully some of you today that has seen this presentation. Yes, darling. You're too hot?
No,
You've itches because you're sweaty. Okay, let's unzip this amazing dress while I finish this presentation with these wonderful people who are so kind as to just be okay with me doing this. Okay, so let's bring this in for a landing. Guys, my results were my own. My new results are my own as well. I own all of them. I learned this material between the ages of 35 and 39, and I know I feel absolutely blessed and gifted. It is my duty and my purpose to go around the world and teaching everybody to do the exact same as what I did and to live the way I'm living right now. And you can do it too through what you have with Dr. Bob and Kelly. All I want you to do, I reached out to them, we had a conversation. I want all of you to do better next month so that you can touch more lives, but you've got to start with your own. You know, when the airplane is going down, the very first person that we need to put the oxygen mask on is ourselves. You cannot help anyone else You've got to create a really big result for yourself in this company, because it's rare that somebody doesn't and they have an amazing downline. It can happen, but you've got to step out and do it for yourself. It's going to be so rewarding when you see these ranking points going in, and you hear the testimonials, and it's just going to build. And we can do this with one word: attitude. Control your thoughts, reject the negative thoughts, accept the positive ones into the subconscious. It's not, maybe for 7 days, there might be a little bit of a dance between positive and negative, but eventually you're going to start seeing results. It's going to build the faith. Okay. Now, how we're going to do this? If you're taking notes, I hope you are. We're just short of the hour now that I promised. I want you to get a piece of paper and take it to your bathroom mirror right now today. Don't leave the webinar. Do it after the webinar. And I want you to put down a 1 or a 10 on the page. And every morning, like, stick it up 4 pieces on the mirror now, the 4 corners. Don't let it fall. Stick it up there on the window, or put it on the mirror. And when you go to brush your teeth in the morning, or when you go to have a shave, or when you go to wash your face, whatever that is, you're going to see your mirror. And I want you to ask yourself, is my attitude, this is my little Bob Proctor bobblehead that my daughter loves, is my attitude a 1 or a 10? Like, how's my attitude towards the disruption of the webinar? I've been looking forward to this for a couple of weeks. And because of difficulties today, my babysitter wasn't around, so I got my daughter here. Do you think I've kept my attitude with my purpose to impart this information to you? I have. No distractions. I haven't fussed and fumed and worried and grieved. I've remained on point. My attitude's a 10 when I'm representing this information, and my attitude's an absolute 10 as a father as well. I don't have to separate my life, my personal from my professional. Okay? So she almost twisted the head off one of my prized possessions. My attitude's still a 10. You've got to have a 10 as your attitude. Stick that up in the bathroom mirror. I'm a 10 this morning. My attitude is a 10 the way I'm going to serve my team. My attitude is a 10 the way I'm going to follow the instructions of what Bob and Kelly are telling me, or my upline. My attitude is a 10 in the way that I'm going to dress for the presentations today. I'm going to be early. I'm going to give them samples. I'm going to follow up with them. My attitude's a 10, a 10, a 10. Now, we're going to develop this. We're going to do a 30-day accountability that my assistant is going to send all of you today, a calendar that we're going to track your attitude, and our attitude on what we're going to do in our action steps as well. Right, a 30-day accountability starts tomorrow on the 1st of September for 30 days. Between now and then, I really hope you take this information. If you're in the United States, it's like midday, depending where you live. You've got the whole day to close out an amazing month. Look at your attitude. Sweetheart, just whisper, whisper. She's using her imagination. I can't stop that. That's a really good thing. But I want you to take into your subconscious mind exactly the result that you want to happen throughout September, throughout the next 12 hours before the close of business today. Really, guys, give it everything for today. Take in the thoughts that you want. Totally disregard the results and the thoughts that you don't want. Right? We're going to do it together for 30 days. And my gift to you is this. I'm going to keep as many people as Dr. Bob and Kelly want me to help. Hopefully it's the next webinar. There's 200 people on there. We're going to do this for 30 days. Checking, sweetheart, whisper. We are going to check your attitude every morning. We're going to get a group together helping us to stay accountable, saying, Declan, I'm a 10. I'm a 10 in everything I do. I'm a 10 as a wife, a daughter, a mother, a sister. I'm a 10 as a brother, a father, a son, or a dad, or a business partner, a business, an upline, a downline. I'm a 10. I'm a 10. I'm a 10. You stay at 10. You're in charge of your thoughts. You're in charge of your feelings. You're in charge of your actions, of everything that you do. You're going to see some prosperity coming to you. It can't not come to you. It's by law. If you're a 10, it has to come to you, okay? That's one thing we're going to do. The other thing we're going to do is I'm going to email you the book, As a Man Thinketh. And you can read all of it if you want, but we're especially going to go to the chapter called The Effects of Thought on Purpose. And we're especially going to get you every day to read that chapter. The effects of your thoughts on your purpose. If you are a fast mover, and if you raise your attitude to a 10, like you've probably all seen Eric around the place, big muscles, big guy. He's not like that because he's got a 7 or a 4 attitude. He's like that because his attitude is 10 towards his health and fitness, towards the way he speaks to people. He's a 10. Dr. Bob is a 10. Kelly's a 10. The people at the top of the company are generally a 10, but I know they know in other aspects of their life they might be a 7 and they can bring it up. So for 30 days, I want you to be very honest with yourself. The results don't lie. There's no excuses. There's no blame game. The results you have right now are directly a reflection of the thoughts and feelings that you have had over the last month or over the last while. And if you want to change that, just change it. I can't ask you to do it, and that's enough. You've got to make a decision. If you don't think you can do it, just think about this. Dr. Bob was recently in Africa. How did he get home? He flew in these huge aluminum tubes. Now I work a lot in America, so I don't say aluminium anymore. I say aluminum. He flies in these big, huge aluminum tubes around the world called airplanes. They all started with one thing, an idea in the mind of many, but the Wright brothers were the only ones that got there. Why did they get there? Because they had a burning desire. Desire trumps Mother Nature. Desire helps human beings to do the impossible all the time. Wireless technology, video phone. This call has been relatively free. 20-something of us are speaking or watching the same recording at any one time. My desire to be the best consultant at the last training got me this award, a little bobblehead Bob, right? I didn't have to do anything differently. I didn't have to sacrifice my life with my family. I just put it in my mind. I made a decision. I'm going to be the best. I'm not going to be one. I'm going to be the absolute best. My thoughts, feeling, and actions lined up, and it came to me like the pen dropping. Laws. Okay? So my last slide, actually, I don't have a slide for this one, but I'm going to say something to you. The last thing I'm going to say to you is this. I want you to write down the law of, one moment, sweetheart, the law of prosperity, okay? How you get money. It's called the law of compensation. You in Organo, you in any business you're in, you're being directly compensated for 3 reasons. Number 1, is there a need for what you do? Is there a need for what you do? Do you believe there's a need for healthier products that Organo supplies? Yes, there is. You know there is, or you wouldn't be doing this business. There is a need for what you do. Number 2, your ability to do the job. And number 3, the ability that there is in which to replace you. Okay, in the job you're doing now, let's just stick with the health products for now. I know there's other opportunities, but let's look at this. Number 1, is there a need for the healthy coffee? Shh, darling. Shh. Yes, there is. She's got such a huge imagination. She can't even hear me. She's living in this dream world now, and I can't stop it. It's really good. Is there a need for what you do? Absolutely, yes. Are you replaceable is the third one. Is there a need for what you do, your ability to do the job, and is there ability to replace you? So number 3, do you feel you're replaceable in this company? I remember when I was doing it and there was some other healthy coffee showing up, but I didn't think they were worth a damn. I'd be honest. I think they were growing like genetically modified Ganoderma and this kind of stuff. So you're not really that replaceable. Is there a need? Yes. Now, how do you alter both aspects? How do you make yourself irreplaceable? And how do you make it that there's always a market for what you do? You focus on number 2. Number 1, is there a need for what I do? Am I irreplaceable? If you take care of the middle one, which is your ability to do this job, you become irreplaceable, and the need for your company it increases. The need for your own individual Organo consultancy grows if you take care of the middle one. This 30-day accountability is going to help you to do a whole lot better. Shh, sweetheart. Even whispering, you're whispering loud. Please keep it nice and quiet. So let's work together. I haven't exactly got the format. Are we going to do a WhatsApp group? I'm not really sure. I just got to mention it to Dr. Bob and Kelly a while ago. But I want to keep you accountable for every day of September. A week of that is going to be spent with my mentor, Bob, but I'm not going to forget you guys. We're going to work together every day for 30 days accountability, as many of you as you want. How you do it? Read the Effects of Thought and Purpose chapter every day, and in the morning, rank yourself. Am I a 10 in how I'm dressing? Am I a 10 in how I went to bed last night? Am I a 10 in my presentation? Am I a 10 in how I'm getting back to my people? And when you are doing that, your results are going to be like night and day. So I'm looking forward to the closing one I'm going to do in 30 days' time. I have no problem in presuming we're going to have a hell of a lot of rank advantages in this company because of this material and because of my support over the next 30 days. I'm willing to do it. I'm committed to do it. I hope you are too. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not sure if Dr. Bob or Kelly want to finish out. Yeah.
Yep, of course. And first and foremost, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've heard it said when people read Think and Grow Rich again and again and again, they actually think the book has changed because something new jumped out at them. So I've definitely been exposed to this material, and Sue jumped out at me again and again and again. I'm excited about the accountability. I love that there's 2 choices, either 1 or 10. So let's all choose 10. What's our next step, Declan?
Okay, so Dr. Bob, I think I recall WhatsApp being quite prevalent in your company.
We have enough people that have WhatsApp, and those that don't can add it.
Okay, well, that's what I do. I think that's the most convenient for me. So I'll create a WhatsApp group. I'm going to put my cell phone number in the chat. It's not in the chat, pardon me. I'm going to put my cell phone number in an email, and everybody who's registered is going to get an email. And if you want to further that to the rest of your community, you can. And then in the WhatsApp group, there'll be a welcome video from me saying, this is what we're doing for 30 days. I will also email them the copy of the book. And for the next 30 days, we're going to read The Effects of Thought and Purpose, and we're going to rank our attitude. And at any time, if anyone has a question and answer or something they want, I can support them for the next 30 days in that closed private group just for your team, okay?
That's beautiful. Okay, so in the replies that you have, do you have everybody's information so that you can create the broad scale group? That's the first question. And secondly, can we add people that haven't been on this for whatever reason?
Yeah, why don't you do that? Let's look at it this way. I'm not sure exactly how many people can be in a WhatsApp group. So let's say if it's 100, then the first 100 are the lucky ones. I'll put together a group, and you can put it out there, email everyone and say, you could say, this is Declan, this is his webinar. It'll give them a chance to watch the webinar today and tomorrow, and I'll kick it off on the 1st, and if people join on the 2nd or the 3rd, then so be it. But yeah, I think that's the best way, or maybe perhaps I could do it through your Facebook group. Why don't you have a little think about it, and we can touch base privately, you and I, on the best way forward. Is that okay with you?
Yeah. My first thought was that the Facebook group.
Okay.
That's my first thought, but I'll bounce it. Kelly,
yeah,
she's better at procedural things. Jacobs is a whiz with technology. So
yeah,
we'll have a decision, by within 3 hours. How's that?
Well, I'm thinking we're brainstorming here, Dr. Bob. It makes sense for only one person to be added in, which is me to be added to your side instead of everyone being added over. So why don't we do that? Myself and Kelly will touch base, and I'll go and be on a group, and I'll go through a quick whistle-stop tour of what I've just said today, encourage everyone to join us. And, it's going to get a buzz going. Maybe people will be uploading pictures of their mirrors and giving us a feedback on how it's going in the 30 days. I'm quite happy for people to also email me their decision that they've made and what they want to have achieved by the end of the 30 days so that we can hold them accountable to that as well. Because we can say one thing and do another, but when you make a decision, as it says in Think and Grow Rich, in my opinion, in my experience with my clients, a decision is not an English word, it's a spiritual act. And if you take that act, you really make a decision, it has to happen. Not by law, not by luck, but by law. Okay, so I'll keep them accountable if that's what they want to do. And I'm sure their amazing uplines will, and you will as well. But this accountability with the attitude as the forefront of their mind, they'll blow their own minds, let alone the rest of the company,
I'm excited. And, we're going to have a bunch of people that I know with your additional guidance are going to be on Sir Richard Branson's island. And by the way, I want to invite you as well. If somehow that opens up in terms of possibility for you, let's do it. I'll get on a plane and I'll come to Ireland. And of course, not that you need me, but I think we have good synergy. Let's make it happen. Whatever works for you.
Okay, that's great. Look, we'll discuss this in private. I'm really grateful to every single person who showed up. There's been at least 20 people on the call at any one time. I really respect you guys for staying on here and for listening to my presentation. I hope my Irish accent came across okay. I get very passionate about this, I really talk fast sometimes, but I could do week-long seminars on this stuff nonstop. So to try and condense it all, to give you as much value as I could, I had to do it fast, and I hope you got a lot out of it. And just go out there and do it, because you've got everything you need. You've got amazing products, amazing upline. Just go and do it for yourselves, do it for your family, and just enjoy yourselves, get relaxed, and you're going to have the best time. So I want to say thank you again, and I look forward to getting to know a lot more of you personally as time goes on. And let's rock it. I'm here to serve.
One final comment. Put your 10 on your mirror. Send a picture. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll see you on the Facebook group. So, okay.
All right. Thank you, Declan.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dada.
Uh-huh.